I have a Danby Portable Dishwasher, and I run the dishwasher at night, and in the morning I noticed there was a little bit of water below the dishwasher. So in order to figure out where or how it was leaking, I ran the dishwasher in the daytime where I could observe it. It basically worked in the first part of the cycle where it filled up the machine, it went through a 10-15 minute wash, and then when it drained, there was water coming out the left side and the right side, and the whole floor was covered with water. So I just threw every towel I had on the floor to wipe it up, and then just checked if the hoses in the back were connected tightly, and I didn't quite know what the problem was. I actually bought a 3-year protection plan for $58 when I purchased this from Walmart. And the repairman basically came and took the machine apart and ultimately could not find an issue with it, but did charge me a $60 fee for just coming and looking at the washer. As a temporary fix, I bought this mat on Amazon that can actually hold up to 3 gallons of water. And I just roll the dishwasher onto it. That prevented any water from getting on the floor. And then fold it up and put it underneath the sink. And that worked pretty good for a while. And then ultimately it didn't drain at all. And then when I turned the machine on, it would just rapidly blink like this. And I contacted a second appliance repair person, and he pretty much said it needs a new drain pump. He gave me an estimate of $285. After he replaced it, the dishwasher did work, but when the water dispensed, it was only at about 50% pressure than it was when I first bought the machine. So at this point, I decided to try and diagnose the problem myself. So the first thing I did was check the filter and underneath the filter and giving it a good cleaning, and I didn't see anything. Then I took the machine apart, checked all the hoses, and actually took out the drain pump that he replaced and found it on Amazon for $36. I was charged $96 for that same drain pump, about 2.5 times upsale on it, but that's par for the course, I suppose, in the repair business. So then I decided to investigate these 2 hoses. So the first thing I did is put a little cloth, because there is going to be a fair amount of water coming out, and then you just take your wrench, loosen it up. And it can be a little tricky because there's not a lot of space to work with. And as you can see, there's a decent amount of water coming out here, and that is the drain hose that we just took off. And I'm holding up what I had discovered in this hose, which was a shallower peel of a piece of garlic. And then when I saw it, I just pulled it out. And then I figured while I was at it, I might as well check the intake hose as well. And again, a lot of water going to come out. And then I just wanted to take a better look at the intake and the outtake and make sure nothing else was in there. Just as an additional precaution, I wanted to hook these hoses out and just let the water run straight through, so if there was anything else in there, it would come out. And then I'm going to do the other side, which is a little trickier because there's no real way to hook it up to my faucet. So I just took the opposite end of it and then just sort of held it up with some pressure. Turned down the water. It's sort of flowing the opposite way as it normally does, but it was enough to make sure there was nothing else stuck in these 2 hoses. And then I just shake them out and hook them back up, making sure it's nice and tight so it doesn't leak. And that was pretty much it. My dishwasher now works where it drains with full water pressure again and no more leaking, but it's kind of amazing that 2 professional repair people came. One found nothing, and one may have changed a part that probably didn't need to be changed. So now as a practice, I avoid putting any non-dissolvable food in the dishwasher, and we're good to go. As a quick tip to see if the dishwasher is draining properly, power up the unit, then start a cycle, and the dishwasher will begin to fill up with water. And this will take probably about 30 seconds or so. Then when the wash cycle begins, pause it and turn it off. Wait a few seconds and then turn it back on, and it'll run a cycle again. And because the dishwasher is filled with water, it will drain any excess water immediately before it starts the new cycle. And now you know if your pump is working or not without having to run an entire cycle. And just repeat this if needed, or just turn it off. Another little tip with these portable dishwashers is usually if you just take that hose off, it'll leak all over your floor. So I have a bucket right under the sink that I just take out and put the water in the bucket, shake out any more water. And you can see there's quite a bit of water in there that would end up on the floor if you didn't do this. Then I just pour it out in the sink and then put the bucket away. And then if there's any residue or a little bit of water left over, just spread it out a little bit with a broom and it dries within a minute or two. Now, if you are in a situation where you've checked the hose and the filter and everything looks clear, and you do have to change the drain pump, it's probably going to be a very similar procedure in other portable dishwashers. So to start the repair, take out the racks, and I'm taking out the drain filter. So you can just take like a turkey baster or a wet vacuum and just get all the excess water out of this drain. Put the dishwasher in a position where you can flip it, lock the wheels, tie the hoses just so they don't flop all over the place. You could also take the hoses off instead of tying them. As an option, you can remove this back panel, which is full of weights, to make the dishwasher lighter for when you flip it over. If you do, take out these 8 outer screws only. I opted to leave the panel on and just tie up the hoses. And you essentially could change the pump from this position if you don't want to do a lot of lifting. But for me, I chose to flip it over so it would be easier for me to access and to work and do a lot of mopping throughout this process, just the way it is. There's just one screw to take off. And then there's like 5 or 6 little tabs that hold the bottom cover. You want to open this thing real slowly because there's this thing in there that you got to take out. It's not attached or anything, so I just rested it to the side for now. And then we're going to take these 2 wires off, and this particular crimp you're not going to have to take off. Otherwise, that would require a crimp tool. Just as a precaution, I put a rag underneath the drain pump. Then I put a piece of tape on the top wire so I know how to reconnect it properly to the new pump. So all you're really going to do with this is just basically twist it to the left or twist down. You're going to hear a snap and it's going to come right off. Keep in mind, some drain pumps require you to push in a tab before turning it, like in this sample. But I could not find a tab to push in on my drain pump, so just turning it worked for me. And then you just pop the wires off. You could even take the wires off before you turn it. And then here's a closer look at it. That's the part that snaps into place right there. There could be something interfering with the propeller, so check that as well. And then here's the other part that snaps in there where the screwdriver's touching. You want to look in here, make sure there's no debris. Who knows what could be there. Make sure nothing is there. You could even take a strong but flexible wire and insert it here a couple of feet just to clear anything out. And then you take your new pump, connect the bottom wire, which has 2 wires. And then you connect the top wire, which has 1 wire. And then we're basically just putting it on the same way we took it off. And we're going to pull it up or turn it to the right. And then it's going to snap into place. And that's it. Simple as that. And now we're going to put the bottom cover back on, put the tabs in there in the reverse way we took it off. Put this unit back in there. the same way we took it out. This goes back on. Push down, make sure all our tabs are clicked in there. And we put our screw on. And then we just flip it over. It is a little heavy. This is a heavy machine. Unsnap our things. Then we untie the hoses, put our shelves back in, and then of course we mop. And we're good to go.